Welcome to part 2 of the biggest empties you'll ever watch. These are the empties from my 2 years living in Australia, and eventually I'm actually saying bye to this beautiful apartment, so I have cleared out all of the empties that were sitting in boxes under my bed in the bathroom. Part 1 was all about the cleansers and the hydrators, and now part 2 is going to be about the active ingredients. I'm talking about acids, niacinamide and retinoid products. Those are the main actives I used this year, and I actually have quite a few to talk about. So let's get started. I'm Dr Sapna. I'm a doctor who loves skincare and dermatology. I have acne prone skin, and that makes me the perfect person to talk about it. Let's go straight in with the acids. By acids, I mean like exfoliating acids, AHAs and BHAs. Those are primarily the main acids available on the market for exfoliating your skin. They help dissolve the bonds between your skin cells and help them shed off effectively. If you have acne prone skin, it's usually because of a dysfunction in that shedding. That's definitely a problem I have. I have these congested pores that come from that issue. So acids can be really important and play a part in that. Now, I don't have that many acids. Part of that is because I use quite strong retinoids, which means that I can't go in too heavy with these acids because they can be a bit drying. But we'll talk about them kind of one at a time. We'll talk about the most famous one. I've definitely mentioned this on my channel before. This is the Paula's Choice 2% BHA liquid. I went through a phase for the last few years before we moved to Australia where I would always have one of these on the go, and that's because I'd use them once or twice a week to help clear blackheads on my skin. Now, the reason I haven't repurchased this was because my skin was starting to find this quite drying, and part of that might be the weather in Australia is quite intense, so I was just finding this a little bit drying and intense. It does work. There's no doubt about it. I really do think this is helpful if you've got really congested skin. I just find that people overdo it. I see that with lots and lots of patients, with people I speak to, friends who have acne prone skin and feel like this is the only way they should use this, which is daily, and that's just too much. Use it 2 or 3 times a week, then it is effective, especially for blackheads around the nose and congestion on the skin. No complaints. I did find it left like a tiny bit of a film on my skin, but I didn't mind it too much, especially if you pair it with some sort of hydrating skincare as well. Yeah, so I did like this, just need to use it with caution. Next up is this cute little bottle from the Inkey list. This is Now this is an AHA lactic acid toner. This was a super lightweight liquid toner that you would put onto a cotton pad or onto your hands and just pat onto your skin. Now, lactic acid is more gentle than the BHAs. It's one of the more gentle AHA ingredients, much more gentle than glycolic. I think it is very good for an entry-level skincare product. The Inkey list generally for me is entry level in the sense that it is quite kind of straightforward to understand what you need to use, and it is affordable. Definitely affordable. Nothing super exciting. I did find that my skin quite likes lactic acid. It is just that sweet spot of helping with overall brightening and glow of my skin without being drying. So yeah, this is something that you could use every day, and a little bit does go quite a long way. This is like a 30 ml serum, and I think it lasted quite a long time, so 0 complaints about this. I just wasn't overly excited about it, but that's just because I'm obsessed with skincare. If you're just a normal person who just wants to kind of brighten your skin a little bit, this is probably a good start. I also have a mini version of the Pixi Glow Tonic. This is something I used to use a long time ago when I first started getting into skincare, and Pixi was one of those big brands that was doing acids, probably not first, but kind of first on my radar. 0 complaints about this. I just have this mini for some reason. It came in some sort of multi-pack or box or gift box or something. Similar to the Inkey list, found this quite easy for my skin. It is glycolic acid, but I still didn't find it too irritating. Previously with glycolic acids, I found that they can break me out. This I didn't really have that issue with, so yeah, I got on with it pretty well. Again, not the most exciting. It feels kind of old school to me. If you're new to skincare and you're just trying things that you know are popular and lots of people enjoy using, this is definitely something to try. I did think that I got to the point where I think it was about to expire, so I ended up using it on my back, which was quite helpful for just pimples that I sometimes get at my back, and it did help with some of the scarring that I have on my back as well. So actually, because it's so lightweight and it's quite easy to spread around, I used to just pat it on my hands and just apply it to my shoulders and back. So you might find it helpful to use it that way. Now, this Votary Resurfacing Reveal Mask is a slightly different way to use acids. Definitely something I recommend if you have sensitive skin, because it is like a mask. You use it for 10-15 minutes and then you just wash it off your face. So if you have any sensitivities to acids and you don't want to leave them overnight on your skin or throughout the day, this is definitely a good idea. It is super like creamy and hydrating and really gentle. I really enjoyed using this. I actually have another one on the go. Just like once a week. It's just so lovely to refresh your skin. It has lactic and mandelic acid, both alpha hydroxy acids, on the more gentle end of that spectrum. Would really recommend this. The last product I have for this section is actually the Kate Somerville Exfoliate product. I didn't like this. There's actually a fair bit left in here, something I didn't finish, which is very unusual for me. Normally, even if I don't love a product, I try to get to the bottom of it, but I just didn't like this, and now it's too old and expired. But this is a exfoliating treatment as well, similar to the mask, but it actually is supposed to only be used for 1 to 2 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes, and it's just really intense. The reason I didn't like it was because it's really gritty, almost like a scrub. So you apply it to your skin, you leave it on for a mask for 2 minutes, and then remove it with gentle circular motions with a bit of water. But I just found that it was too rough on my skin. It feels very old school St. Ives scrub vibes. Would not repurchase. This is the only Kate Somerville product I haven't liked, which is very unusual. I really like a lot of their products. They're quite high end and luxurious. Normally zero complaints, but just didn't like this. The next section, I'm going to talk about niacinamide serums. Now, I actually thought I'd have more of these because this was something that I just have enjoyed so much in the last year or two, and I was using it every day, so I don't really understand how I only have these 4 empties of it. I'll start with the Naturium one. Again, something I've spoken about so much. I have a full video about niacinamide, including scientific research about how it works for your skin and why I love it so much. I've used this one twice, which is pretty impressive for me in the sense that I don't repurchase the same product very often because I'm often just intrigued to try something new and I become obsessed with the next thing. But I actually just bought another one of this. My skin loved it and I really liked it. This particular niacinamide and zinc blend is just a lightweight gel texture, and my skin just loved it. It would help calm a lot of my acne. It helped with congestion, inflammation. 10 out of 10. Cheap, cheerful, effective, and somehow I think the bottles lasted a reasonable long time. You only really need 1 pump. I was really happy and would probably repurchase, even though I've already gotten through 2 of them. Generally, Naturium is going to be a brand I keep a really big eye out for in the next few years because I think they just have so many exciting products, really good, easy to apply formulations, and I really enjoyed that with this. The next very similar product I have is the Medik8 Clarity Peptides. I think they have updated the packaging with this since, but similar to the Naturium one, it's a lightweight gel. I would just use it on my non-retinoid nights, and it just really helped with calming your acne and your inflammation. Niacinamide has a lot of good benefits for helping with post-acne inflammation and pigmentation, so I really do find this effective. Both of these products combine it with a bit of zinc, which has a similar effect for acne. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Probably prefer the Naturium one just because it was a bit cheaper. They both feel very similar. They're lightweight, gel, not sticky at all. I remember years ago using the ordinary niacinamide serum and just found it weird and sticky, and the bottle used to get a bit crusty. Same with the Inkey list. These ones don't do that. They're only a bit more expensive than the ordinary and the Inkey list, so I'd always just opt for one of these 2. I think it's definitely worth it. The next one I have that I probably wouldn't recommend, probably because of the kind of oversell on the 20% niacinamide. This is the Paula's Choice 20% niacinamide treatment. I think that 20% is just a bit overkill, it's a bit unnecessary. It just means that some people might find it irritating. I did not. I didn't think there was any real problem with it. It was a bit more lightweight in terms of a serum compared to the others that were a bit more thick and like a gel. This was definitely a bit more lightweight, so if you have a problem with that kind of gel texture, then you can by all means try this. It's just expensive, which is something I'm finding with Paula's Choice lately anyway, but more on that another time. I do think that niacinamide is just a staple in my skincare routine right now. I know that my skin likes it. I reach for it almost every day. This was just a bit too expensive, so something I'm gonna get through a lot of. That's it for niacinamides. The last part of this section is retinoids. Now, I don't actually have too many of these because I use prescription strength skincare. I've been using tretinoin for some time to help with acne, and for me, that's done a really good job. It is controlled the majority of my pimples. I do still get the occasional here and there. You should definitely speak to your doctor if you've got acne. Acne is a medical condition, sometimes needs prescription skincare. These are the retinoids that I've used when I'm not using the high strength tretinoin. Some of these I actually ended up using on my body when I was using the tretinoin, because actually my back would really benefit from some retinol that will help with the pigmentation I had from previous acne that has kind of improved. A perfect one for that was actually this. I actually have the Pixi Retinol Tonic, again another little mini from Pixi. Because it's super watery, I could just pat it onto my arms and just kind of pat it on my shoulders and my back. You don't get the best, most even distribution of skincare on your back like you would on your face, or sometimes if you use a mist or something. Once upon a time, I think Paula's Choice did a BHA in a mist format for acne, but they stopped making it for some reason. So this I think can be quite helpful. Retinol is pretty good for helping with hyperpigmentation, so I found that it was quite good for my back, particularly this watery style one. And then speaking of body skincare, I used the Retinol Oil complex from Software. Software is an Australian company. It's the Australian equivalent of Dermatica or Skin and Me. I have worked for them. They have this retinol oil, which I thought was really nice for using on your body. I used to bring this right down my neck and my chest, and the oil just meant that I felt like I was giving myself a little spa treatment, use it as a little neck massage, that sort of thing. I really enjoyed using it for that. I think that these retinol products are very good for someone who doesn't have a particular skin issue like acne. And I think oils can be underrated, especially if you are a little bit older and have more dry skin. As you lose your estrogen, your skin can get more dry. So something like this is really nice. Again, a bit similar to Sunday Riley Luna, which is a oil-based retinol, but probably about half the price tag. I'm not sure if you can get this in England yet. Watch this space. Another retinol product I have is a Retinol Complex Serum from Naturium. This product I actually ended up buying because I wanted to buy their retinaldehyde, which is slightly higher on the conversion ladder than retinol, but they weren't selling it in Australia, so I ended up buying the Retinol Complex Serum. I actually thought that this was that very light gel texture that I think Naturium have nailed the base of. They're just so easy to integrate into your skincare routine and other hydrators without ending up with this sticky mess. And I think retinols, because they can be unstable, can be quite hard to formulate, and I've seen lots of products that don't feel nice, and this one's not bad. I don't think it's as good as the next ones I'm going to talk about, but I don't think it was bad at all. I definitely used the whole thing. It was the lightweight gel vibes. I think this whole brand, like I said, is definitely one to watch. Next up, I have some Crystal Retinal products. These are the retinaldehyde serums from Medik8. I've spoken about these before, especially when I did a big overview of Medik8. I really enjoy these serums. So I use them when I was taking a break from my tretinoin. I think that these are really wonderfully made. They are just the most unique retinol texture. They're this lightweight, almost cream, has a tiny bit of a whipped texture to it, really light, and I really enjoyed using it. Zero complaints about these. I love the whole branding, the packaging, the whole message of starting low and increasing as you get more tolerant of retinoids. I think that these are wonderful products, a bit on the pricey side, but I think if you're going to invest in anything for your skincare, retinol is probably your best way forward. I probably would try and use the Crystal Retinal 20 at some point, just to see how the texture compares from the lower end of that ladder. But yeah, zero complaints except for the price tag. Lastly, I have these three mini products from Sunday Riley. God, they're bloody cute. I love Sunday Riley. I love all their products. However, these minis, as cute as they are not useful to you. They are nowhere near big enough for you to be able to gain a good idea if these work for your skin. They're useful to just test the texture of something, but they're not going to be enough to find out if your skin really does improve with these products. They are 5 mils. You're going to need a lot longer, at least I say 8 to 12 weeks of using a retinoid or an acid before you see if your skin really does improve with it. I must have got these when I brought the full size products. I have used the full size products of these before, which I really enjoyed, particularly the Luna. I think I've used quite a few of these a few years ago. The minis were just useful for travel, but definitely check out the full size products if you're in that budget and want to look for something useful. That is it for part 2 of this Empties, where I've talked about active ingredients, Part 3 is going to be moisturizers and SPFs, and then I may even have enough for a part 4 with all these like random miscellaneous products I have left over. I've got some vitamin C's left that will probably go towards part 4. There are so many products here, so yeah, keep watching. If you've been enjoying this series, please let me know in the comments below and subscribe so you don't miss part 3 and 4.